Hello, how are you? I'm Kayla. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm going to be sharing all of my knits that I completed in 2024. And of course, as usual, I'm late to the party, but we're gonna do it anyway. I haven't made a video since August, I think, which was floss tube. I do cross stitch and knit, obviously, crochet, quilt, so I do all kinds of stuff, but I primarily knit and cross stitch. But I've been knitting a lot the past year. Kind of fell back in love with that craft after I was heavy into cross stitch for a few years. So yeah, I do all that stuff, but I'm gonna be sharing my knitting and then whatever else as I have it. So as I said, this year, I keep looking at the pile of stuff I've got here. Yeah. This video though is gonna be about completed knits from the past year. I do have a handful of things that I worked on but did not complete, so that'll be in another video. And yeah, I'm gonna go in order from when they were completed. You know, completed first in the 2024. Yeah, that makes sense. So the first thing I finished was this hat. It's a musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague. I knitted this with one strand of fingering weight yarn. It is Stroll Tweed Fingering from Knit Picks in the color Barley Heather. And I believe I used a size 4 needle. I think you've seen this pattern before. It's nothing very groundbreaking. Well, it's kind of great hat, but it's nothing, you know, it's nothing new, but a lot of people have knit it, but I would definitely knit it again. Actually, I did knit it twice this past year. But this is the one I knit for myself and I really like it. Okay. Oops, I'm already out of order. Look at me. The next thing I finished, I have to put on for you guys because it's a sweater. And this is the Felix cardigan by Amy Christoffers. Ooh, my tank top is covered in fuzz from my other sweater that I had on. So let me back up so you can see it more properly. Okay, I'm standing on my tippy toes. I'm hoping you can see. Okay, this was knit mostly in 2023. Though I had to do probably a sleeve and all of the ribbing in 2024, and I finished it in February. It's got these little metal buttons, and I knit this in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the color Claret Heather, which is actually, besides that fuzz, it's quite pretty. Yeah, and I like it. I knit this, I did not do any tubular bind off, which I believe the pattern called for, and I just honestly didn't want to with all of this ribbing, so I just did a regular bind off in pattern. And yeah, I like it. When I had chosen the size, I chose to make it with less ease than what the pattern recommended. My body size has changed a bit in the past year, but it still fits, even though it's not the best. So that's the next thing I finished. I do like it. I've worn it a handful of times, but probably not as much as I thought I would. But that's also a me thing because at home I really wear hoodies and like big t-shirts. And the thought is, oh, I'll wear my knits at home, but I really wear them when I go out, you know? Anyway, the next thing I finished is my ranunculus, the first and only one I've made so far, but I would make it again. Different yarn though. So you can hear my dog walking probably, and maybe my son walking upstairs. So this is my ranunculus. It's cropped. It looks really good with a dress, which is how I wear it. I have a black tank top dress and I like to wear this over it. This is in a yarn color called Red Clay, and it is a Yarn Bee. I'm looking at my Ravelry so I can tell you better notes. Yarn Bee Fresh Haven which is something I'd bought randomly from Hobby Lobby and had sitting in my stash, which is 100% viscose from bamboo. I did half twisted rib on the neckline, sleeve ribbing, and bottom ribbing. And yeah, I like it. I used size 9 needles. I think 10 is recommended in the pattern, but 10 was currently taken up with another project that I chose to frog. So I don't have a project to show for it, but I went down a needle size, so I decided to make a size 3. Yeah. Oh, I should say, I may be missing details, but I do have notes in my Ravelry. So I'll link my Ravelry. I'll try to link all the patterns in the description as well. Okay, so between my Muscle Burrow hat and finishing my Felix cardigan, I forgot that I did do another hat, but I don't have it here to show you. It is just a simple ribbed watch cap. I'll put in a picture. I used Knit Picks Stroll in black, and that was for my husband. I knit the size large, but decreased the length because he likes to wear his hats kind of high. He has glasses and he doesn't like to go over his glasses. It irritates him. And he doesn't like to have a really, wide folded brim. So I shortened it and knit it otherwise to pattern, tubular cast on, so on and so forth. I don't know if I said it's from Church Mouse Yarns. Honestly, it was a bit of a slog to knit because it was black yarn and 1x1 rib. And, sometimes when you are making special requests, it's not as fun, but I did it. So yeah, okay, moving on. My next knit is the Harlow Sweater V-neck by kgstitches. Let me get it on so you can see. Okay. I don't know about this one, honestly. I knit this in a size large. Let me back up so you can see. The only thing I shortened was the ribbing by probably an inch because I was short on yarn. And I finished the body before I finished the sleeves. It is a split hem, deep V-neck, double folded, really wide sleeves. I like this little detail in the back. You start with an I-cord and then pick up and do the trapezoidal shape for the drop shoulder. Okay, so I used Lion Brand Wool Ease in the color Rose Heather, which I bought from a thrift store. I got a pack of 6 from the thrift store for, I don't know, $7 or something like that. So yeah, the problem is though, I don't know if you can tell, I can tell. You see the difference between here and here? I ran out of yarn here and didn't have any more. So of course had to order some. Oh, you can see it really good now. And so this is the new skein and this is the old, which clearly does not match. Totally different dye lots. And it even feels completely different. This is rougher and this is much more silky. That doesn't bother me that much. It's not my favorite that happened, but really it's just something about the fit I don't love. I don't love how big the arms are. When I do wear this, I roll up the cuff, so it's more practical. But even then, it's just kind of, I don't know, I wanted a sweatshirt replacement. That's why I picked this and knitted the size I did, because really probably a medium would have been better for me, even with wanting a sweatshirty replacement. And I just don't wear it for what I intended. I have worn it a handful of times, but I wouldn't call this a win. I think at this point I was still kind of learning what I was gonna actually like and put into use. I saw a lot of people wearing things like this and looking so cute and cool. And I was like, yeah, I wanna do it. I don't know, I enjoy knitting it though. I would maybe knit it again in a different yarn, but I'm not sure. I would either have to go like way longer with the body, so it's just like something to wear with leggings, almost like tunic length, and have it be this wide, or I'd have to go down a size. Yeah. So I'm not really sure, but it was fun to knit. I'd never done a folded over V-neck before. I mean, it turned out good, nice, you know. I actually even tried to give this to my mom and she was like, yeah, I love it. And then she was like, the arms are too big, it's too big. And she tried to shrink it and it just didn't work. So here I am with it back and trying to convince myself to like it, but I don't know. It was kind of a fail, I think, but that's all right. So that's the Harlow sweater V-neck. Okay, the next thing I finished, just checking, making sure I'm right. Yes, the next thing I finished was the Rosemary cardigan by Savory Knitting. Oh, you're gonna see my son walk into frame for a second. Don't mind that. Go ahead. Oh no, you're good. Okay. So this is the Rosemary cardigan by Savory Knitting. Am I right? Yes, Amy Christopher, Savory Knitting. This I used, again, this was yarn that I had in my stash that I was trying to use up. Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Tweed in the color Welly's Heather. I don't think I did the recommended amount of ease, but it does fit all right. I did knit it to length and it's quite cropped, so I like this better for with dresses than with pants. I got these cute, like birchwood, I think they're birchwood, buttons from Etsy, which I really like and I think fits the vibe nicely. What do I have to say about this? I used, I think the recommended needle size. Oh, instead of the lifted increases for the raglan, which the pattern recommends, I did make one left and make one right because I couldn't be bothered doing lifted increases at night on black yarn. So that's why I did that. And it worked out just fine. I'm sorry if you can hear us coughing. We're all recovering from being sick. All right, I'm just gonna keep this on and talk about my other stuff because it's all accessories from here on out. So I also knit, let's see, 2 pairs of socks, one of which is this pair for myself. It's just a vanilla striped pair. I used leftover Knit Picks Stroll Black. That was leftover from my husband's watch cap, which I should have put a picture in for. And then this pink is a variegated, variegated. It's Hawthorne Fingering in the color Arletta by Knit Picks. And this yarn was originally supposed to be a Novelli top, but I decided I didn't like the fit and frogged it. So I have yarn of this to use up. Anyway, I made this pair of socks for myself. I like it, it's cute. I think I knit it too long. I have a size like 6.5, 7 foot, and I think for some reason I blacked out and thought I needed to knit it longer than I did. I could have probably taken out this last stripe. It's also possible that I was like, ooh, put in this last stripe so I can do the toe black, because I thought that looked nicer than having the toe be pink. I don't know. Or having an extra long toe in black. I'm not sure. But they're fine. They're soft. They've worn well. And also, I did not want to have a bajillion ends in these socks. So I just carried a seam up between the stripes. I always knit my socks on a 2.25 millimeter needle, which is a US size 1. I like to do the 9-inch circulars, and then I switch to DPNs for the heel flap, heel turn, and gusset, pickup, and some or all of the decreases, and then I switch back to the 9-inch circular for the foot, and then DPNs for the toe. They might be overly complicated, but I hate magic loop and I don't really like DPNs, so that's kind of my best option there. So next thing I knit, I also knit a muscle burrow in between the cardigan, finishing the cardigan and the socks. I'm getting all distracted because I don't have them in person. I knit a muscle burr for my sister out of DK weight yarn that was Knit Picks Capra DK, which is the cashmere merino blend, in the color CL, which is like a cornflower blue color. And I had 2 skeins of that. I used a US size 6. and the 2 skeins wasn't enough to finish the hat. So the crown decreases are in a random merino yarn that I had in my stash, worsted weight, which actually is less wide and bouncy than the capra, which was supposed to be DK, interestingly. But it's fine. My sister says she wears it a ton. So I have one picture of her wearing it. I'll put that in. Okay, then my next thing that I made is the dinosaur ear flap hat. This is for my son. He picked out the pattern. This is by Olga Lotas. The pattern is by Olga Lotas, and I used the recommended yarn, which is Drops Merino Extra Fine, which is a DK weight yarn. Off-white, I don't know what, forest green maybe? Forest green, and then chocolate is what I used. And it is a double thick hat, so it has an entire lining. And I just color blocked it to use up the yarn. I made a little pom-pom, knit some I-cords. You do short rows for the ear flaps. You actually start with this bottom chocolate bit, and then start with the hat, do your short rows, work up, work the chart, do the decreases. Then you pick up from inside and do the same thing over again, but minus the chart. Yeah, and then I really wanted, I was running short on yarn, so I wanted to make sure I had enough to do the I-cords in brown and the pom-pom in white. So whilst I was in the middle of knitting this part, I stopped and did that, and then finished the hat accordingly. So I used up almost all 3 skeins of the yarn. This is in the largest size. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it. He uses it a lot, and it works out for him because his ears are always freezing. So in the winter time when we're playing outside. I will say, because the background of the chart is the cream, you can see where I caught my floats. I don't think I really had an issue with tension so much as it's just like the lighter yarn, and you can kind of see, especially if I stretch it out. But it's not too terrible, and it doesn't stop him from wearing it. So I would recommend this pattern. It was easy to follow, and I think there was a video of the picking up part available to use, which was nice that it was offered. I didn't need it, but it was nice that it was there. I also knit 3 Christmas ornaments, which are packed away with Christmas, so I'll put in those pictures. They were I used Knit Picks palette yarn that was in my stash for a long time, and it was the Arne and Carlos, I think 2021 Christmas balls pattern that I used. I just picked 3 from, 1 for each of the kids. Did I say I used a 2.25 millimeter needle for that? Because I did. And the last thing I finished in 2024 were this pair of socks for my husband. He has never requested socks before. He's only ever requested that black hat. Maybe another hat. He's always like, no, make things for yourself. So anyway, I wanted to make him socks. I thought he deserved them, and I thought maybe he would like them when we're sitting at home and he's got cold feet and stuff. So I used my usual 2.25 millimeter US size 1 needle, and I just didn't really use a pattern, but this is my favorite way to make socks. It's a 1x1 cuff, 3x1 ribbing down the what's that word? Leg, heel flap and gusset, of course, because I think that fits the best. At least it fits me the best. And then continue the 3x1 across the top of the foot, but stockinette on the bottom of the foot, and then regular square toe decreases. For him, for my socks, I always do 60 inches, unless I'm following a pattern for some special thing. But for my husband, I used 72 stitches. And I knit these in secret. He didn't know about them. So I just used a chart for, you know, men's size 11 feet, and they seem to fit him nicely, actually. So this is Patton's Croy yarn in the color gray brown marl, and I used almost the full 2 skeins. I've got like 2 little bits left of that, of the yarn. And that's it. So I'm going to do another video soon, I think, of my whips that I'm bringing into this year, and maybe plans slash knitting dreams, because I've got a lot of those. But yeah, that's all I've got. You know, like and subscribe and all that stuff, and I'll see you soon. I hope you're enjoying your crafts. Okay, bye.